Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, good afternoon, Rais Hasan. Thank you very much for coming today. First of all, I would like to say apologize for yesterday I couldn't join in for seminar in progress, so that's fine. As the first reviewer or examiner, so I will make you to conducting the similar presentation last time. Yeah, and now I would like to listen to yours final project with under the title "An Analysis of Noun-Phrase found in Manubai environmental articles about Indonesia. You have around 15 minutes, and after that, I will give you some feedback and questions. So, time is yours. Yeah. Good luck.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, sir. My honorable examiner. My name is Rais Hasan, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my final project progress about an analysis of non-phrases found in Mongabay environmental articles about Indonesia. So, in this presentation, I will explain the progress of my final project in several chapters, which is 4 chapters, including in separated parts. So, without further ado, let's move from chapter 1. So, from chapter 1, I will explain the background itself of the study. Mongabay is a well-known news platform that focuses on environmental issues, including focusing on conversation topics in the country of Indonesia. Language also an important role to present how the environmental issue is delivered to the reader, in especially non-praise, they shape how the public perceives and also to make the reader more understand about the problems of environmentals. Also, non-praise help journalists by creating a key information in a structured and organized way. Previous studies on Mongabay also show that narrative pattern influence how the environmental issues are understood by the readers. Therefore, however, despite the interest of Mongabay analysis, there is still limited research about non-press analysis in these Mongabay articles. Therefore, this is the gap that my study want to address. Moving on to the next slide, which is about the problem identified and the identification. So from the background before, the problem that I identified is the limited research on non-press structures and also the function in Mongabay article. It creates a gap in understanding how complex the information about environmental issue and organized and communicated to the readers. Therefore, from the problem identification, there are two things that my study want to fill the gap. First is to identify the type of non-praise found in this article, and the second one is to examine the function of, of the non-praise in this article. Moving on to chapter 2, which is about the theoretical framework that I use for this final project. Starting from the grain theory, I use two grain theory for the analysis. First is the noun-phrase definition by Greenbaum and Nelson, and the second one is the noun-phrase function by Bieber et al. Starting from the basic, news article is a written text that gives factual information to the readers about ongoing event, while phrases is a group of words in a sentence that act as a grammatical unit. In English, there are 5 phrases, which is noun phrase, adverb phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, and adjective phrase. While noun phrase has its own main element, which is the noun or pronoun as its determiner. And then noun phrase also has a component of the structure itself, like determiner, pre-modifier, and the head noun, while also the post modifier. But the post modifier here will be excluded from the analysis because it is one of the limitations. Now I will explain in detail the structures of the noun set, the noun phrase. Starting from the determiners, determiners usually comes before the head noun or before the pre-modifier if there is a pre-modifier. It functions to introduce the head noun itself. There are also several types of determiners, such as articles to specify or general the noun, and demonstrative to specific point the location and time of the noun, and the possessiveness to show ownership or relationship between the noun, and then quantifier to show how much and how many of the noun, and numeral to show the exact quantity in a number or in an order of the noun. Now moving on to the pre-modifier, which is one of the noun-phrase structures that plays before the head noun. It usually has a function to describe or to classify the noun itself. There are also different types of pre-modifier, such as adjective, which is the adjective that usually modify the noun, and also imparticipial, which use past tense to modify the noun, the head noun, and imparticipial, which use present tense to modify the head noun, and also noun pre-modification use noun to modify the head noun itself. From all of these structure explanation, there are also type of noun phrase structures that explained by Greenbaum and Nelson. There are three types of noun phrase by Greenbaum and Nelson. The first is determiner plus noun. The second one is pre-modifier plus noun. And the last one is the determiner plus pre-modifier plus noun. Therefore, noun phrase also has a function in the sentence, which is as a subject, which means the noun phrase itself does the action or does the verb. The second one is a direct object, which means the noun phrase itself perceives the action or received by the verb, and then a complement of a preposition, which means the noun phrase itself follows a preposition before. Now moving on to the chapter 3. For the method that I use a qualitative research, collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand language use and the meaning in context. And then for the data collection, they consist of 8 by articles by the year of 2024 until 2026, and selected based on a range of significant and ongoing environmental issues in Indonesia, including several subtopics such as mining impact, deforestation, and also air pollution, and then biodiversity. So for the data selection, it is a sentence that has the noun phrase itself within the article. Now this is the step of how I analysis the data or how I identify the noun phrase itself. First, I will read carefully about the articles, about the sentence in the articles, and then if I found the identified noun phrase, I will deeply identify its structure type and examine each of the structure. And then after I identify the noun phrase, also the structures, I put it in the Google Sheet spreadsheet. Also in the Google spreadsheet, there is several types that has a different table. For example, if the type 1, for example, type 1, it only has determiner plus noun phrase, and type 2 for pre-modifier plus head noun. For type 3, it is only for is only for determiner, pre-modifier, and head noun. And after I classify it based on the three types, I will calculate the total noun phrase and analyze the frequency of type 2, type 1, type 2, and type 3. And after I'm done with the calculating of the noun phrase, I made a chart or a diagram to show the frequency of noun phrases types in a clear picture. So that is the several steps of how I analyze the data. And now it is about in chapter 4, it is about the result and discussion. So from the charts in the PowerPoint slide, it can be shown that the type 3, there are several types that found in the articles. There are type 1, type 2, and type 3. Type 3 by being the most commonly found in this article, and type 2 and followed by type 2, and type 1 being the lowest. This indicates that the writer on Moabay about environmental issue article tend to use complex noun to organize the information. So that is from my result and discussion. And this is the sample of my analysis. As we can see here, the first one is the table that consists of determiner plus head noun with also the function itself. It is the type 1 of noun phrases. And below here is the pre-modifier plus head noun. It is the type 2 of noun phrases. And the last table is the type 3 noun phrases that exists of determiner, pre-modifier, and head noun. So moving on to how I analyze the noun phrase in detailed way. For example, I put the sentence here, and in the sentence, I found that the identified noun phrase is natural disturbance. And after I identify the noun phrase, I will break down the structure itself. I found that there are two structures, which is the pre-modifier and the head noun. The natural is the adjective type of pre-modifier, and disturbance is the head noun. And after identifying the structure, I will classify it based on the noun phrase type. In this noun phrase, this is the type 2 noun phrase because it only appear that pre-modifier and the head noun. And after I classify the noun phrase, I will analyze the noun phrase function in the sentence. Here, the noun phrase here act as a direct object because the noun phrase receive the verbs or filters out. So that is my explanation about the step of data analysis. And then when conducting the analysis, there is a problem when analyzing the noun phrase where I found out that there is some unfamiliar environmental terms when analyzing noun phrase. So the solution that I have, I use online dictionary to check meanings and to check the meanings of the noun and also the word classes. And I also use online dictionaries such as Oxford and WordType and any other of online dictionary. And then this is the final slide, which is about the next steps. So in the future, I will finalize analyzing the function of the noun phrase within these articles. So what is the most frequent, commonly shown, and also I will complete the final report, and then I also prove and revise the final report before submitting it. So that is my presentation, and I want to say thank you for your attention, sir. Now it's your time to give suggestion and question. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. It's my pleasure. Okay, congratulations, Rais Hasan, for your completing your working progress. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with your progress that you do with your analysis in non-phrase. Yeah. Okay, let's jump to the feedback and also question and answer sessions. All my voice is clear. Yeah.
Yes, but I think my volume is low, but wait,
Yeah, you need to adjust your volume. Yeah.
is it in the Zoom? Because it is maxed out in my laptop.
Yeah, in Zoom.
Um,
Okay, let me repeat. Yeah. Congratulations on completing the substantial of draft of final project report. Yeah. So the
yes,
topic is interesting and relevant with your discourse analysis,
yes,
especially on mobile that data source appropriate for authentic materials. The environmental journals about the environments is from Greenbaum and Nelson in 2002 and Piper
yes,
and all 1990. Yeah. So, however, in your report, you still content of some weaknesses. Yeah, especially addresses with acceptable for the final examination. But I suggest you to some feedback. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, let's start it from the first point. Yeah, in theoretical framework. So there are some incomplete coverage. Yeah, you state that the use of Greenbaum and Nelson in 2002 and the
yes,
paper et al. In 1999. Greenbaum and Nelson describe the seven structural types of noun phrases.
yes,
These are dead first head, primordial first head, dead
yes,
primordial head, and head first postmedial. However, you have deliberately excluded post modifiers, right?
yes, that's
So
correct.
from your analysis and scope and limitation that you mentioned in your
Report.
presentation,
Yes.
so that's acceptable as a limitation, but you do
Mm.
not explain how your three types, determinant plus head, primordial plus head, and determinant plus primordial plus head, correspond to the Greenbaum and Nelson full uh, typology.
Um,
So is there any explanations why it's excluded and then related to this theory?
So, yeah, for the theoretical framework, the reason why I limited the post modifier from this, sorry, excluded the post modifier from this analysis is firstly because it I have some limited time to analyze about the full structures. because the final project is now due to 2 months, so it is set to limited to ensure that the process of my analysis in non-phrases doesn't requires a complex structure, sir.
Yeah, you mentioned that the limited time. How does this
Yes.
exclude affect your ability to answer your second reset question? What is your reset questions?
What are the functions found in the environmental article about in Mongobay about Indonesia, sir?
Just one reset questions only?
Oh, there is two. And the second one is what are the type found in the environmental articles by Mongobay in Indonesia?
Yeah. So if you excluded that, so how did
Okay.
you answer the second questions of the reset questions?
The second question is different than from the post modifier, sir. The function itself is different from the structure of non-phrase. Therefore, to answer the research question number two, firstly, uh I will see from the data collection. May I show you the data collection, sir?
Yes,
Yes. Okay, wait.
because we afraid that if you excluded that, so your second reset question cannot be answered. Yeah, more frequently realized by non-phrase. So that's modifiers. How did you know to analyze them? Yeah, so tell me the analysis.
I need to hide the control here. Okay. So this is the example of the table. As you can see here, there are the function here. And to answer the research question number two, first I will summary what kind of function that is found from all of these articles, and then I will create a chart like before, like of the non-phrase type. And then I will explain how can this function, what this function does to the non-phrase itself, sir. So that is my explanation about the function for the research question number two.
So it can still be answered, yeah, even if you
Yes,
excluded that. Okay.
yes, because the structures and the function is two different things here. The function here, it is like, for example, subject, the noun phrase that does the action, and complement of preposition, which mean the noun phrase that follow the preposition before.
So in your result in chapter 4, you only show the pie chart, yeah, figure 4.2. So without
Yeah.
any actual numbers of the percentage.
Oh,
What are the row frequency? How many type 1, type 2, and type 3 of non-phrase did you find?
um, wait. I think it is. So, the frequency from the type one, I can find that uh, there is a total of 112, and for the type two, total of non-press that I found from type two is 223, and for the type three, it is
2020.
294, sir.
Yeah, so have you put it into your figure, yeah, in your chapter 4 as the finding?
Um, yes, there is the chart, sir. But
Yeah, that
I haven't tell the exact number. I
yeah, so
mean,
that's why you need to complete it, yeah.
oh,
Okay, then other questions. Your pie chart show relatively proportions, yeah, but the
yes,
top absolute number. So reader maybe cannot
yeah.
assess the significance of your finding. So
Oh,
can you provide it into a table showing which number of type 1, type 2, and type 3, yeah, each of the
oh,
8 article. So you count each non-phrase type and the total. Okay, now let's moving on to, yeah, you can take notes, yeah, for
okay.
because you still have around 1 month, yeah. In
Oh,
June, you have a final exam, right? So, how many progress that you completed from 0 to 100%?
I think for now, because I have analyzed the non-praise type in those 8 article, it's probably like 70 or 60% due to I have some revision before from the feedback of Miss Anggi, and also I need to analyze in detail about the function itself, sir.
Yeah, so what's your difficulty in analyzing this non-phrase?
So, like what I stated before, I found there is some unfamiliar words when analyzing the noun phrase, which I don't understand of the meaning of it, and also I don't understand about the class
Yeah.
word of it.
The structure,
Therefore,
yeah, syntax, yeah, syntaxis.
yes, correct, sir. Therefore, I use an online dictionary to tell which kind of word is that and the meaning of it. And secondly, I also found some difficulty in managing the data because if you see like the result of the the noun phrase that I found, there are so many of it. There are almost 6,600, I think, of the total that I found, which means I need to organize the data in the table. Therefore, to solve this problem, I use Google Spreadsheet because Google Spreadsheet has a more simple tool than Microsoft Excel, even though it is the same, but still, for me, the tools that um, provided by Google Spreadsheet is more efficient, sir.
Yeah, okay. So you're quite struggling, yeah, to analysis this
Yes,
one. So 60 to 70% still on progress. You haven't finished it
yes,
yet, yeah. So that's why I asked you about the function of non-freeze
yes, sir.
because it's not adequate reported yet, yeah. Your
Yes,
second research question asks what are the function of non-freeze, but you mentioned the function is your data table, subject, direct object, complements, and preposition. However, in chapter 4, the result only discuss the structural type. Yeah, there is no analysis
yes,
because
because
you haven't finished yet. Mm.
I haven't done with the function, sir.
Okay, now let's comparisons with the previous study as a
Yeah,
problematics in your research section on page 23. You compare your finding with the previous study from Al Muharram, yeah, 2021,
yes, sir.
ULA 2024, and Glitterit in 2022. However, many of those studies included post-X modifier, but in yours,
Yes,
yeah, analysis, well, you excluded them. Your statement that the difference happened because this study exclude post modifier
post
is
modifier.
the admissions of the comparison is not valid,
Oh,
right?
yes, sir.
Then in other question, if you deliberately exclude those post modifier, why do you compare your result with studies that included them? Wouldn't you fair compare? Yeah, it's not fair if you compare with the studies that
Mhm.
also limited their analysis to pre-modifier only. Do such studies exist? If not, you should acknowledge that your findings are not directly comparable because they are not equal with yours.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
better.
it's not allowed to compare because while they analyze post modifier and I'm not analyzing post modifier because of the limitations, sir. So it cannot be allowed.
Yeah, I mean it's not apple to apple because you're
Oh,
different, right? But it
yes.
should be have the same structure and the same with yours. So that's why you refers to your previous study. But if your previous study is not completed yet, so why you should compare to those who incomplete, right?
Mhm.
So better for you to find the other article that
That
apple to apple
same
with
as
yours, the same, right? And then find what's the limitation. Maybe the
oh.
subject is different because you're considering mobile, especially in environment, while the other talking about social issue or political issue. So that's why we compare those non-phrase in different contexts.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir, for the suggestion.
And let's moving on to uh, yeah, due to the limited time, yeah, in your study, analyze
Yes.
only data because you only had short time, pre-modifier and had nouns, yeah, included in most modifier, yet you're in data table, table 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3, you include example of noun phrase that in their original sentences might have had post modifier. So you extracted only the head and pre-modifier. So
Mhm.
this is fine, but you do not explain your extraction procedure. Yeah.
Oh,
So we suggest you to clear step by
and this.
step,
Oh,
procedural step. It should be clear, yeah, in your
in the report, sir.
yeah, in the report. The sentence contains
But
noun phrase like the government of Indonesia. You would only analyze the government determiner plus head and ignore the Indonesian because it is the post modifier. This
oh,
needs to be explicitly stated, right?
yes. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, next in data table and recording. Table formatting issue in table 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 have the stary empty column. Yeah, in that column appears
Mhm.
blank because you haven't finished on progress. And then
Yes.
plus signs like in formatting error, yeah, from copying, clean this up. So some example in table 3.2, former President Joko Widodo is Joko Widodo as the head of noun. There is proper noun phrase. Is the appropriate treat the proper noun as the head noun without determiner? You classify it as the type 2, predominator plus head, right? With the
Yes,
former
sir.
presidents, president as a proper modifier and Joko Widodo as the head. But
Stay.
Joko Widodo itself as non-phrase. There is need justification.
Oh, okay. But the non-place there is the former president and also Joko Widodo, sir, because free modifier can also exist with noun that modify the pronoun, and also pre modifier can consist of two pre modifiers, sir.
Yeah, so in we can conclude that the former President Joko Widodo, how to distinguish between pre-modifier, former
Oh,
president, and the compare head, Joko Widodo? Wouldn't be more accurate to analyze the entire string as the noun phrase with the complex head? What does your theoretical framework, according to Greenbelt and Nelson, say about the proper noun as the head?
yes.
Yeah, okay, please check ya and validate what we call Ibu Anggi consultation. Did you use Zotero or EndNote for your references
I
citation?
will and I will use Mendelizer in the future.
Yeah, because there is some error, yeah. In your
Yes.
citation and reference error, in references include Hasan and Pulu in 2020, Newman et al. In 2024, but these are not cited in body of your text using APA style versus 7, yeah. So you need to remove them or cite the appropriate. You cite Adriani and Bram in 2021. Do not see the citation in the text, yeah. So you have to be consistency. You may use Mendeley or Zotero carefully to cross checks. Then another issue is overuse of simple sentence structure. So
Oh,
your academic writing is clear, but sometimes too simplistic. Yeah. For example, this
oh yes,
study
sir.
used qualitative research method to analyze the structure. This is fine, but in results section, you write this study has two research questions. That is unnecessary repetition. So avoid restating your research question in the result chapter. So better, my suggestion, use more academic phrase. For example, to address the first research question, the analysis identified three structural type of noun phrase.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so it's more, yeah, you have learned in academic writing, right?
Yes, I have learned it, sir.
Okay, another questions on methodology, yeah, in chapter 3, yeah. So you analyze only 8 article, right? How did
Yes.
you select these 8? Were they picked up randomly on purpose or the most recent? Could you choose, yeah, article bias on the non-phrase pattern you found?
So yeah, I picked the egg article with no without any random choice, but there has to be several criteria such as the subtopic and also the the time that is still relevant to environmental issue in Indonesia, sir.
Yeah, so that's why because the total population more than 8, right? So that's why what's your consideration to think that to be 8? First, because of the time.
Yes.
Second, because of the
Yeah.
reasons. So it's relevant, yeah, with
Yes.
up to date, yeah, something like that. So that's stated in your selecting the data, yeah. Yeah, or you can use purposive sample, yeah, purposive with your purposive because there are random sampling, there are some purposive sampling, so you may use purposive dengan sengaja ya. Maksudnya dengan sengaja itu karena you have the strong reason because it's to be up to date because of the time frame, ya. Okay, next one on the exclusions of the post modifier. English noun phrase often carry heavy information like post modifier. For example, in the rapid of deforestation that occurred in 2025. By
Yes.
excluding them are the phrases missing the most characteristic in noun phrase structure of
Will
the
be.
environmental journalism. Justify your decisions. Okay, now let's talk about the triangulation, yeah, on the iterator reliability. Do you know reliability? To check the
Okay.
validity by other people. So did anyone else independently verify your identification and the classification on non-phrases? If not, how we can be confident to another researchers who didn't find the same result?
So yeah, to verify the finding itself, first, there are no person that help me to identify, but therefore I always follow the theory from Greenbaum on how the noun phrase itself, the structures of the noun phrase itself can be exist. For example, the noun phrase must have must has a head element which is the noun or pronoun and also can be supported by several structures such as pre-modifier and also determiner. That is the reason how I identify precisely about the noun phrases. So I don't incorrectly analyze any other phrases.
Yeah, better for you to check, yeah, by second supervisor or first
Yes.
supervisor to check your work, yeah.
Okay,
So
sir.
on the function of non-phrase, you haven't yet presented your functional analysis. Can you
Yes.
right now tell me that tentatively what's function? Is it subject, object, or complement, or preposition? Is the most common in your data? And why do you think that is typically environmental news?
Okay, so for example, if it is the most common function is if the most common function subject, it can be concluded that the article from Mongabay tend to show the actor who always dealing with the environmental issue, and if is the most appear is the object, then the Mongabay uh, use the actor that received by the action, while the preposition tell the usually tell the location of the environmental issue, sir. If it is the example if the of the conclusion.
Yeah, the subject meaning that is the main actor, yeah. So
Yes, correct.
what do you call significant or important, very, very important as a subject rather than the object, because the object is something that maybe the second priority. The complement is not less popular, yeah, or less
Yes.
important than, yeah. So that's the reason. Okay, and then on comparison with the previous study, you note that your most frequent type is determiner plus
The
pre-modifier plus head.
modifier.
So match
Yes.
some of the previous study, but different from others. So what does this tell us about the genre of the environment journalist compared to, say, sport or news or travel magazine?
So yeah, the difference is I can conclude that from the analysis that I found, which is the type 3, environmental issue article use a more complex noun phrase to structure its information, meaning the term of environmental issue here is more complex than other because from the finding, the type 2 is being the low than type 3 and type 1 being the lowest.
Okay, the final question to be discussed for today, yeah, before we finished.
Yeah.
So what's your plan? Yeah, because next June, yeah, it's already May, right? Next it
Yes.
will be final report, yeah. So what's your strategy to complete your analysis? Because you still have around 40% to complete it. Then
Yes.
to what do you call complete the report and also meet your supervisor. What's your planning, yeah, to complete it to 100% next month?
So maybe from after I finish the work in progress seminar, I will quickly as fast as I can to revise and to continue my analysis on the function itself, sir. I also will more often to have supervision session with my supervisor, and then I will also try to finish the chapter 5, which is the result and the
Chapter 5 is easiest, the most difficult one is
yes.
chapter 4. In chapter 4, result and discussion, yeah. So
Yes,
the
I
result
will.
that you have in all analysis, then answer to research question that you have.
Yes,
That's my suggestion, yeah, to complete
that's
it.
fine.
And after that, yeah, chapter 5 is just summary, right? The main point from chapter 4.
Summary and recommendation.
Recommendation, suggestion, yeah. Okay, I think that's all. Do you have a
Uh,
questions to me?
Yes, sir. So, yesterday, Miss Anggi has a question according to my background of study.
Hmm.
Yet I'm still confused that whether the background of my study is still aligned or not, because I seen that there is still some complex explanation that I need to remove. Can you check it out, sir? I need
Yeah,
your
the
feedback
the
about
big
the background.
background. Do you mean
Yes,
background from previous study or from
yes, from
journal?
chapter one, sir,
Oh, background.
in the
So the
background. Yes,
background in your background stated that you uh interest in non-phrase in
yes,
whether you look at the introduction to linguistic, right?
yes,
In your
yes.
subject.
That
So
is
in
the
introduction to linguistic, you learn about phonology, morphology, syntax, semantic, right? This is still on non-phrase. Non-phrase is you divided into which phrase, noun, and then you have the non-phrase tree, right? To analysis. So my suggestion for you to in diploma 3, I think you study from the introduction to linguistic and how the by understanding non-phrase will help you. Yeah, a lot of students, especially in non-linguistic student, they little bit difficult and they do not know what is the function of non-phrase. So by knowing better non-phrase, perhaps yeah, it will be help the English students or learners of the linguistic to provide better structure or better construction. So without studying non-phrase, meaning that students just make a sentence, just it. But after
uh,
you know the model of non-phrase, typically we can assume that if the students are able to analyze it and make the different combination of the non-phrase, whether they have writing the structure they write. So, but to make an essay, to make a sentences or paragraph, so we know, yeah, we know exactly those structure better rather than the one who do not know the structures. My suggestion for you, perhaps you can read several journal, yeah, about talk about non-phrase in,
okay, sir.
in linguistic, especially talking about like apa not semantic, this called syntaxis, yeah, syntax, yeah, the
Okay, noted, sir.
syntax. Anything else? The syntax,
I think there is
yeah,
all
syntaxis is
from my.
refers to study about sentence.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right? But when morphology is words, study about words. So in introduction to linguistic is all study about how the microlinguistic, right? Microlinguistic is the language inside of it. So very lowest we have phonology. Phonology dealing with sounds, the voice, yeah, and how the voice construction, yeah, from the linguistic speech organ, how you sound it, syllable, and etc. Yeah. Then second, you move to morphology. Morphology is all the words, but
Study about.
construction. So prefixes, suffixes, right? And how the words can be changing the type of part of speech, yeah, the noun and verb to be noun, to be adverb, and etc. Then next is the syntax. Yeah, syntax is the construction from usually the sentence. Sentence have subject and verb. Yeah, subject and verb. That's the clause, dependent or independent clause. And then noun phrase, it should be some group of nouns. Yeah, some of group of noun. And the
Yes.
phrase itself is with the simple sentence. Yeah, and some other compound sentences. So well, the other is the noun phrase has a complex sentence. So that's why in the range of sentences, so a lot of students, especially English learners or non-linguistic students, usually they do not know how the right construction or development of the sentences. So by understanding syntaxes and noun phrase will help them to basically know what type of noun phrase
Oh,
itself to have a better range of study, yeah, such as better make a structure or writing, yeah, and then better to identifying in non-phrase to comprehend the issues, yeah, especially in linguistic study in text analysis, yeah, and also in the structure.
okay, sir. I will note that.
Okay, that's all. Anything else?
Yeah, I think that is all from